I just got a survey.
Underway. I see I missed the flag salute. So Scott. Under select board rules. For a speaker, is it 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
Can use. Oh, you're ready.
I am ready.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for beginning things. We've come to the point in the meeting where it's open for public comments. This is relative to anything that's not on the agenda. I was reminded at our last meeting that we should follow our rules, which is 5 minutes for a speaker. Once you've spoken to the issue, you can't speak again until anyone else who's interested in speaking has spoken, and then you get a second bite at it. So public comments, anything that's not on the agenda. Ray. You gotta go to the podium, Ray.
Okay.
Please.
My issue is now I'm on the design advisory, so I'm not coming here representing them, but there's been some confusion about parking lot lighting. This has been a kind of a thing of mine for a while. I spoke to you like back in December, I think. And I'm seeing a proliferation of these in the parking lots of these kind of like what I consider Walmart style lighting. As a matter of fact, I think even probably Walmarts are going, even have things that are more tasteful now in some places probably than that. But I did take some shots, and my feeling is that we don't want to start looking like suburban or something. I don't want to categorize any towns or anything like that. But these lighting, the lightings that I consider Walmart as lighting, and I have some of these, and maybe you'll share that one, and then I would have one. You can look at the first 3 pages. I took some shots of around Shaw's, the Hampton Inn. There was these kind of lights were also going to appear in, I have one extra, going to appear at Lola's, which is the new place that Christo's family has done. And it was approved to do those kind of Walmart lighting. And I knew Christo personally, and I went back and forth with them a while, and I appealed to them to do something different. And they, a month ago, so I saw them at the town block party, and they said, "You change. We're going to do something more that looks more historic in keeping with that." So here, this
You could continue it.
yeah. Take a look picture here. If you can look at this, this is like the back of the Hampton Inn and the brewery that's being built there. I mean, but these are like hovering over the whole place. If you look at that, if you look at Shaw's and you look at some other ones, even the gas station, they've got all this stuff. And I mean, it's starting to look like an airport or something. So what I'm asking here is to take a look at these other lights that I've shown. This one is, well, that's behind one of the stores. Oh, behind, I forget what it's, one of the stores. You can see that one there. This particular one is, I think, they're by the town green. But I mean, the thing is the town has got all these nice lights that we put up. Now I feel that by allowing these kind of commercial generic lights, that it's exploiting the town. I mean, these people are coming in here to a town that's beautiful, historic, and now putting up these things that could go in, anywhere USA in these suburban settings. And I feel it diminishes the quality of the town. Here's our town light, there. Again, going down 1130, very nice. Now, it hadn't thrown in here. We're supposed to be in the front. Here's the short. This is what I'm talking about. And we're getting a proliferation of this kind of stuff. And I'm asking that I want to see how you feel about it. But I'd like to go to the planning board and get something on the in the town plan. But that would back us up and say, when you do a parking lot, let's not do this. Let's do something more like this. Okay, and this is, I think this is the library, yeah. I mean, these are probably very pricey, but there are ones that are very simple. And usually what a developer will do is they'll come and they'll say, we can't afford it. Well, you know what? Maybe you can't afford to operate here and diminish our town. I would just like some direction from you guys to see how you feel about it. And just basically mandate, have something on the record, so it's not a gray area when it comes to the board and people are like this and that. And then the developers are hustling the board, saying, oh, we can't afford it. You know, this is a nice project and all that. But why not contribute to the town and not diminish the town?
Right, you're on the design review board.
Yeah.
And have you brought this up as applications come in at the meetings?
Yeah, but we're not, I think we need something in writing that says we want this and
I
not.
realize that you're advisory, but so there's clue me in as to how it works. So if you make a recommendation, it's up to the development review board to incorporate that. But if there's nothing in the bylaw that says they have to do that, then it may not get done. Is that
That's exactly what's happening.
in a nutshell? Okay. I agree with you. I don't think the price differential is that great. And I see Carl Buckholt's got his hand up. Carl.
That was before it. I didn't think he's probably a different topic.
Oh,
It's a different topic.
different topic. Okay, let's finish this.
Like, for example, this fixture is by, I don't know, it used to be that Lion's Ship Bakery or something, whatever. But this is a very simple fixture. I mean, this can't be very expensive.
Well,
I mean, that's fine. It doesn't have to be as elaborate as what's at the library. But let's contribute to that. And I feel like everywhere you walk in town should be a good experience. It shouldn't be always back there. You get out of your car, it feels nice. Or do you want to feel like you're in, you know, Teaneck, New Jersey or something? You know, no, I don't want to use it, but look, you know, wherever, you know.
Are you asking for us to carry this suggestion to the planning commission, or are you planning to speak?
Yeah, I want to go to the board, yeah, the
You
planning.
want to go to the planning commission?
Sure.
And you want to go there with consensus board in your back pocket?
Yeah.
Okay. How's everybody feel about it?
I'm in total agreement.
Well, you were on the design review.
And I was on the design review board, and I often would hold up the design guidelines that the town has and would use it as a guide and say, you know, where does your plan fit here? And there's a zillion examples of it. It's not just lighting. There's all sorts of, and I think the key aspect of this is people come to Manchester for a reason, not just the shopping, but because of its historic charm and aesthetic. And I'm in total agreement with doing everything we can to preserve that, including when we're talking about creating housing. I think that housing, it can look well, you're using certain amount of materials and you just have to put it together in a way that's in keeping with the historic aesthetic of the town. So I think we should back this effort to pay more attention to the design guidelines that the town has.
I am not in disagreement, but there are parts of it that I think could be under consideration. For instance, I know one of the things that bugs me actually is the color temperature of the lights at Shaw's. I don't know if you've gone there at 10 o'clock, it is like purple.
Yes.
It's perfect. We have a
And
purple.
Now, but at the same breath, I think in some of the applications where we have larger, which we don't have many, larger parking lots, right? Like the Price Chopper Shopping Center or Shaw's, where you have a larger coverage area. Whether the design aesthetic is met or not, I think the color temperature is even more important, the brightness, the overall brightness or the temperature of the light for safety. Because, you know, a lot of these lights, like the ones that you've shown, right, have much more of a down light and they're much closer to the ground, so they're not going to cover as much, right?
They work well on a sidewalk.
Right, right. So, looking at some of the applications that you've shown here, like, actually even here, don't we have these type of lights in this parking lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm also curious to see if these particular lights are also ones that Efficiency Vermont may also be pushing because they are energy efficient.
We replaced the street lights on Main Street.
Yeah, I remember.
And went to a more historic looking fixture.
Right.
And they're higher and do provide quite a bit of light. So
Okay.
there are a lot of choices out there depending on the application, but I'm not a lighting specialist and I don't know the numbers as to what would be required in a certain application.
Yeah, I think my main concern is just limitations of, some of these are existing locations, right? Like I don't think Shaw should have put in the color light that they put in. It was kind of overnight, it just appeared, right?
I bet you Shaw's didn't come for a permit or.
Well, they just changed the bulbs.
Changed
They
the
changed.
bulb, right? So you didn't see them, and that's probably something that they should have done.
Right.
Is to come and do that.
Right.
And in terms of temperature, I totally agree, which motel is it on south on 7A? Had changed everything to a warmer color, and then all of a sudden it's all back to a bright, blue. And it's a little tough. So I think both temperature and design should be looked at.
Yeah, they're making high efficiency bulbs now to be warmer light.
You can.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Just the
All right,
color.
I'm gonna
No.
conversation going back and forth is if we get the consensus to the board.
Yeah.
You do have support from the board on this initiative, both design and temperature of the lighting, if there's some way to talk about that.
That's great. Can I just, look, this picture, nothing, this is another thing a little bit, but this is, in Martha's Vineyard, this is an affordable housing project.
Oh, really?
There, no to like it. I mean.
There's your housing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Here's the other thing. Okay, that project, the Richville
Yeah.
Road.
We've gone past the
Yeah.
time.
Richville Road, Dave, like, can I have you, I'll give them to the. Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Great. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Carl.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Carl, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? I'm unmuted now.
Yep. Yes.
I got two things. The first, as my role as the chair of the Energy Committee, I'm curious what has happened with our request to add one sentence to the purchasing policy. I came before you several months ago, before the summer, and we asked to add one sentence to the first paragraph. And I'm curious whether anything has happened, or do you need to have that on the agenda as a separate item and have a public discussion before you vote on that, or how does that work?
Well, he presented to the select board as a possible change, and the select board didn't act that night and didn't give an indication that they wanted to. My comments are that, the words in that line they wanted to add included the word shall, which is a restrictive and not flexible word. Instead of may consider all operating costs. And, I feel like there's no real reason to make this unnecessary edit at this time. We're not in the middle of purchasing things and.
All right, can I read the sentence again?
I've got it right here, Carl. I can read it.
Okay.
Buckle went on to request that the select board consider adding a sentence to the town's recently adopted purchasing policy. Buckle stated the sentence, quality of goods and service shall include consideration of 1, all operating costs, 2, reliability, 3, ease of installation and operation, 4, noise of other environmental pollution, 5, find the cost and frequency of maintenance, and 6, the ability to be recycled or repurposed at the end of useful service.
So it says shall include consideration of. It's not a mandate, but it's certainly something to look at. I mean, for example, my own tiny little example, when I had a gas-powered lawnmower, every time I would tip it over to change the blade or to wash the underside, I'd be taking it to the shop for the carburetor to be worked on. Now with an electric one, battery operated one, I can tip it over all day long and there's no problem. So that's what I mean by, ease of operation, all operating costs, etc. So we're just asking for that. So I'm just curious, where it stands. Do you want to have it on the agenda and have a public discussion, or can you guys vote on that on your own?
I think changing the word makes sense. Instead of shall. It opens up the possibility for the purchase of, as he mentions, electric, mowers and other equipment. And I think it's not a bad idea to think about whether something can be recycled. None of it seems too onerous either. It's just consider it when you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, considers in the sentence.
Yeah. I can't, well.
Yeah,
there'll
it says
be
shall
unintended-
shall
no matter what
include
you do-
consideration.
No matter what we do, Carl, there'll be unintended consequences. But,
If we did decide this is something we wanted to move on, we would need to put it on the agenda, correct?
Right,
It wouldn't be something we would take action here.
that's correct.
well, I'm in favor of putting it on the agenda.
I am as well.
Okay, we'll put it on the agenda for a future meeting. And thank you for bringing it back to our attention, Carl.
All right, you're welcome. Take care. Thanks.
Any other public comments? Seeing none? See if I can get back into my computer.
Minutes.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from the select board meeting of September 2nd.
Like to make a motion to approve the minutes. of The select board meeting of September 2nd.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The minutes are approved. We do have a liquor license application.
She's on the phone.
Okay.
Emily.
Okay,
Right.
Scott, just lead us in on this one.
Yeah, so this is a first and third class liquor license application for a new business that has not opened yet. It's a Neighborhood Noodle at 4776 Main Street. The applicant is on the phone or on the Zoom call right now. They have received a permit from our zoning department and from the DRB, but that permit has been appealed to the environmental court by a neighbor. And so we're looking at possible other options, but the liquor license is unrelated to those circumstances. Emily, did you want to comment on this?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, I am Emily Shore. My husband Ian Shore is here as well.
Hi.
Yes, we are going to be the new tenants at 4776 Main. We are very excited to be opening a new restaurant in town. It is a ramen and Japanese concept that we have been previously operating as a commercial caterer, and we have been doing a lot of pop-up nights at the Crooked Ram, which is also in Manchester. And we now have this space, and we would love to be able to provide for our community and offer beer, wine, sake, and then just a very limited liquor selection of specialty Japanese whiskeys. Very, very limited selection. Happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
Guys, we are.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the liquor license at 4776 Main Street.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's 5-0. Congratulations. You have the approval from the board.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. As many people know, we've been looking at options to repurpose the courthouse up in the village. And Gordon Black has been working really hard on putting together an agreement, which is a three-party agreement, which includes Manchester Village, who operates out of the courthouse. We have a copy of that agreement in our possession.
So this is just the first draft, first blush attempt at it. We were, not really sure which way the board wanted to go. And so the staff worked and with Sarah and others, put this together. We're ready to take your comments and amend it as needed. So Sarah, if you want to comment on it, or you don't.
This is.
There's a microphone for the Zoom people.
Okay. Thank you for reviewing this, and it is loosely based on an example. There were several examples provided to Gordon by the Vermont, the Preservation Trust of Vermont. And Gordon and Lori worked together to customize it for this application. I think the main change from the standard lease agreement that they were given by Preservation Trust is the concept of two phases. There will be the construction phase where we will be renovating the courthouse outside and portions of the interior. And we'd like to, once it is renovated, then go on to phase B, which will be actually being able to rent some of that space and use those rents to support the cost of, electrical, utilities, all of that. So this is basically addressing the next 2.5 years of construction to get it to the point where we can rent it more readily. Right now, it would be throughout this process, the town would continue to benefit from the leases that you already have there's one not-for-profit there. We could do some limited renting, the town could, but, during construction.
Do you have any anticipation that the not-for-profit that's running there now would continue to be in the building at the end of this process?
Sorry, I didn't hear that clearly.
I was wondering if you have any expectation that the not-for-profit that's running space in the building now would be able to continue to rent space?
I haven't spoken to them about that. Gordon negotiated that lease agreement with that.
Same question for Manchester Village.
The village intends, to the best of my knowledge, to continue. We've discussed that with Tom, and the board has repeatedly said they'd like to stay.
Nonprofits on a month-to-month and been fairly inactive lately since the administration has started immigration situation.
You want to add?
I think that was good, pretty clear. I think it's a good first phase.
So with the last page, we're using that word again. Shall, 7.1. So upon completion of phase 1 of the project, the town of Manchester shall grant a lease no less than 25 years to Northshire, provided Northshire's in full compliance. So, that's one consideration there. And I think the rest of the roles are clearly defined.
I think the word shall was put there on purpose. It's somewhat of a guarantee that if Northshire makes this investment in time, energy, and money in this building, that there will be some kind of a guarantee that they'll be given a 25-year lease. if, without that guarantee, it may be difficult.
Raise money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not opposing it, Ivan. I just wanted to bring it to you.
Yeah, I don't know. Good point. But that's,
Do words like shall also correspond to requirements for funding? Like that grant, the initial grant, I think that you were looking at, so
I do think that,
they have requirements.
we've never been told, we only made one grant application so far, and the feedback, we didn't get approved. And the feedback actually from Preservation Trust of Vermont was that we really didn't have any, it was really early in our life cycle. We didn't really have any financial underpinning. We hadn't raised any money yet. We didn't have a lease. We didn't have an agreement. So we needed all of the parties to have contributed something before they felt comfortable contributing as well. So it's a kind of, if this, then we'll, contingent growth model.
is that a grant that you can circle back to once you have those underpinnings in place?
Not that specific grant, but there will be more. There's another one coming up in just a few months. That again is for about 20,000 or 20 to 100,000 that would be available 2 months after that last grant would have been available. So they said we met most of the other criteria, just needed to have more meat to our business structure. Meaning a lease and an agreement with the town and the ability to go in and make changes.
A lot of these grant applications require the applicants to have control of the facility. And without this agreement, they don't have that control. I think with it, and that word shall included, that would allow them to show control in their application.
That's right, exactly.
I think it's great. I mean, I'm glad you've been doing all this work.
Yeah, I think it's certainly a good comprehensive first draft. I think we're gonna have to read it several times to.
Yeah, Merrill hasn't weighed in on it yet either, but, and the village hasn't seen it either. I imagine they might want to look at it.
I have no significant changes at this point.
Great, okay. What's the next step for the
We'll
courthouse group?
take it to this, we'll take it to the village.
Mhm.
And then we'll put it on a near future agenda for possible approval.
Okay, so when you take it to the courthouse or to the village, the courthouse group will need to look at it too, that we have a lawyer. We haven't, just saw it tonight. Looks pretty good in general terms, but they'll want to go through.
You could start now with that, Sarah, and give it to your.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. This next agenda item is kind of an interesting one. It's a possible ban of Suron and other e-bikes at the Manchester Rec Park. And this is at the request of the rec director.
Yeah, so you'll see in his memo about the background going on. This is something we've had discussions about more and more frequently, unfortunately. And so these bikes, like call them bikes, but they're really motorbikes. They're powered by these rechargeable lithium-ion battery packs, high powers, fast charging, high performance, and basically they go speeding around the rec park, and they have been seen and reported on the skate park. And the skate park and the rec park trails are frequented by a lot of young kids, older people, people that can't jump out of the way, and these bikes are extreme hazard, and we're trying to prevent an accident from happening. And so we'd like to prohibit the operation of these Suron and similar electronic bikes within the area of the rec park. I considered adding the trails to it too. But often these bikes are used to get from, say, the Riley rink over to the rec park for a practice or something like that. And maybe for a while we can go without that. It's easier to control in the rec park only.
I think the friction is exacerbated by the fact, and I know a lot of these kids that ride these things, and they're very proud of their skill set.
Very talented, yeah.
And so they're really good at riding at speed on one wheel and other things that really isn't appropriate in a setting with pedestrians and children, that sort of thing. I concur. I think it's just an accident waiting to happen.
Well, didn't we also talk about the weight of them is not good for the skate park? We put all that money into that skate park and
That's true too.
damages the
That's
ramps.
true too. And we're now concerned about the pickleball courts too, brand new.
Because they are banned from the skate park.
On our sign, yes. We do have a skate park sign that,
This is on the general
Yeah.
rest of the facility.
I looked up some backgrounds of other communities that have done similar things, and what I've seen is the most typical regulations are around the class. For like e-bikes in specific, there's a type class 1 that, whether it has pedal assist or, can only reach up to 20 miles an hour, or with the you can actually throttle class 2 without pedaling and get to 22 miles. And then class 3 is 28 and above. So the consideration of language may want to look at that specific, because someone who wants to go over and ride a casual bike around the park doesn't want to necessarily get caught up in this. And I understand we're specifying, the Sur-Ron electric motorbikes, but we may want to look at including a specific class in that language.
Shouldn't we have that on the rail trail?
you had a proposed ordinance that included that, had 3 different classes, and that was never passed by the select board. My concern with different classes are
It's understanding.
to enforce, what, was that bike going by? Was that a class 1? Was that a class 2? We have to track them down. It's a person with an assist type bike. With a pedal bike, you know what it is. It's a pedal or it's not.
Oh, okay.
Do these Sur-Ron ones not have a pedal?
They have, what do they call it?
Like, or,
Footrest pedals.
okay, well, then
But
that's
they're
a
not.
They're not pedal.
No, they're not pedals.
non-pedaled.
Yeah.
I think we could start with not like non-pedaled bikes, get bikes that are not operated by,
Not have the ability to be pedaled.
right. And then if there's still other concerns, doesn't sound like people with the class 3 bikes that go 30 miles per hour, but also you can pedal are the problem. It's just,
Right,
why
right.
don't we just start with that and
Okay,
take it from there?
that's fine.
You mentioned that some of these people that are riding them use them to get to the rec park. And so let's say their intention is not to ride them on the trails or
Make them walk. They'll ride to the entrance and walk them
park it somewhere and walk in.
They can ride on the side of the road, right?
And they do.
on the road.
Yeah.
If they're legal,
And if they follow the 15 mile an hour,
sure, right.
if you can drive your car, you can ride your motorcycle. I mean, these are basically an electric.
But you're not banning them from the road of the rec park.
Not the road of the rec. But if they come in from Riley Rink,
Yeah.
if they come in from MEMS,
This said within all areas of the Manchester Rec Park, so that language within all areas sort of made me think that they can't go into the recs.
we'll get some good signage up. So when you're entering, beyond this point, electronic bikes cannot be used.
Don't get me wrong, I'm in agreement, and I don't know where we are on them being in traffic doing wheelies at 40 miles an hour.
We do have a test case. It still hasn't come up in court yet, so.
I want to create a park just for them. That'd be fun.
Just when we're doing the language. Sorry.
I mean, the rules as they exist now.
Yeah, it says
Not allow motor vehicles to.
motor vehicles, right? And these aren't considered motor vehicles by the state, and that was the problem. And apparently they're now being looped in with motor vehicle.
So he wants it, Brian wants it to prohibit all of them in the park, period.
In
Including.
the park.
And including the road.
They said all areas.
Well, I mean, if they're not street legal, how would they get into the park anyways? Unless you put in the back of your truck and then,
They're not street legal and they're yet on the street. So the point is they would be coming into the rec park on the road.
illegally entering the park to
Yeah,
begin with.
right.
So why wouldn't we,
Well,
why wouldn't we then? And it's such a short run, the road, the actual road, it's a dead end road. Why would they want to ride that there anyways? And we got little kids crossing that road all the time.
only if they're coming to do something else there, not ride the vehicle. So the question is, can they ride it there to use the park? You know, and park their vehicle.
Well, the proposal is to prohibit the operation of Suron and similar electric motorbikes within all areas of the Manchester Recreation Park, including walking paths, trails, playing fields, and common spaces. I mean, it doesn't talk about the access road.
But it says the park. In all
well,
areas.
I think this is duplicitous.
I think
We have an ordinance that says it shall be unlawful to operate motor vehicles.
but they're
at
not
town
considered
parks.
motor vehicles.
I thought we were considering the motor vehicle.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can.
We're gonna have the both words in there when we finalize this,
Similar, Suron and similar electric motorbikes.
correct?
So if there's like a person that has, like I've seen like little kids that have ones that aren't crazy, would that prohibit the use of those too?
Well, are those the pedal assist
There's
type
ones
of
that
one?
are pedal assist, but they're not going 90 miles an hour either. They're just little ones.
It would, I think. I mean, if we're looking at how we're going to enforce this, right? We're talking about pedals, no pedals, and that's kind of like a barrier, right?
Yeah.
If it can't be human assisted, then it's not considered a bicycle. And although it's not considered a motor vehicle, I was actually just thinking, I don't remember which class freshman year at Burton, the very first day we had to talk about, it was government and law with, I can't remember. Yeah, was no vehicles in the park and how to determine what's a vehicle. Does that mean no bikes? Does that mean it's actually this exact case right here, right? I mean, I just don't want to see, you know, like an older, I don't want like someone, maybe a senior citizen who does like to get out and uses an e-bike to be discouraged from doing that because they look at the sign and it says no e-bike. You know,
I understand. I have to say it's very minimal use that way.
but I could also say that they've been gaining. I mean, I've seen more e-bikes in the last 3 or 4 years than not even Ford's making an e-bike now, but yeah.
I see a lot of pedal assisted
Yeah.
e-bikes.
Yeah.
And that would be the type of bike that is probably a senior citizen would ride.
I
not-
have one.
Not a sewer. It's a pretty high.
Yes, I know, but if we, you know, like for instance, in the agenda, it said e-bikes, right? So I just want to make sure that we're very clear on the language that we're using if we're going to be putting up signs to not discourage folks from being in the park and utilizing. it.
So I think by inserting to prohibit the operation of Suron and similar non-pedal assisted electric motorbikes.
Yeah, but what for signage, that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
Just rolled off mine. Okay.
Speaking of rolling, Mr. Chairman, most Huron bikes do not qualify as electric bicycles under Vermont law and are not street legal, meaning they cannot be registered for on-road use. The state exempts electric bicycles from registration, but Sur-Ron models like the Light BX often exceed the legal limits of motor wattage that lack required features for street use. Then it goes on to talk more about it. I think it's pretty easy to make the distinction with the pedals versus the pegs.
I think that's how we have to do it.
Okay. Do you have language for that?
Let me see if AI can come up with something. I'd have to put something in here.
Well,
It does say lacks operable pedals is one of the defining characteristics of motor assisted bicycle.
all right,
So
so,
vehicle must have fully operable pedals.
I mean, this is an ordinance change, which we can't do tonight anyways. So what I was hoping to get was some language that we could add to the ordinance and then put it on a future agenda. In the meantime, we can start to put up signs.
So I hope the consensus in the conversation is pedal assist versus fully electric. The pedal assist is a much less
Mhm.
dangerous.
All right, so we'll come up with some language that allows pedal assist, but not these Sur-Ron and other similar type electronic.
Yeah, so that's all, that's the piece that we need to
Okay. Okay.
come up with a language.
Sure, we're not the first place to do this.
And because it's not street legal, it's not legal on the rec park road.
Right.
So,
You can't get there.
yeah,
Couldn't get there.
you can't get there from here. No.
Okay.
And if it's not street legal, I question why the pack of them will be seen on Main Street doing wheelies.
Can you send me that piece, Greg? Save me looking up, please.
Oh, Greg's gonna send that. Do we need any more discussion on this or move on? Okay. We're going to introduce the new director of Manchester Community Library. Matt, join us.
Good luck with the e-bikes. I came from Acadia, which was like Acadia National Park was the kind of the mecca for all e-bikes in the world, it seemed. And so I grappled with this quite a bit. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Matt Delaney, and I'm the Executive Director of the Manchester Community Library. I came here today to introduce myself, to share a little bit of my professional and personal background, and to offer a few humble observations about the library as the new guy in town. So I've worked in public libraries for the last 15 years. I started my career at the Albany Public Library and was most recently the library director at the Bar Harbor Public Library in Maine. In between, I served as director of 3 public libraries in New York and Maine. I've led 3 major library renovations. I've opened 2 new branches, and I've helped launch dozens of new programs, each very different based on the unique needs of each of the communities that they served. I helped reopen and renovate a shuttered library in a post-paper mill town in northern Maine, and I helped launch a gear library that loaned mountain bikes and skis and canoes that was intended to help local families connect with a growing outdoor recreation economy. I've seen firsthand over and again how libraries can help communities grow together, grapple with change, and really drive civic innovation. Through the connections I've made in my library work, I've also had the opportunity to work on a number of nonprofit boards in the areas of food insecurity, outdoor recreation, and youth leadership development. And on a personal note, I moved to Arlington recently with my wife and 2 kids and our dog Bronson. My wife is an accountant and my kids are at Fisher Elementary School, and we are all thrilled to be here. So that was about me. I'll tell you a little bit about the library, which a lot of this you'll probably know. The mission of the Manchester Community Library is to be open to all as an inspiring gathering place for the community, providing opportunities and resources for personal enrichment and growth. One thing that I love about libraries in general and MCL in particular is that within our mission, there's considerable range to do really exciting and meaningful work at a very local level. So MCL's 4 core areas of focus are health and wellness, education, community, and recreation. And with a small staff of 10 and an operating budget of about $1 million, we couldn't possibly be effective across those areas without working very closely with partners across the region. So this year, we worked with over 80 different community partners to deliver more than 1,000 programs at the library. Working with the town, we partnered with the Housing Task Force, the Planning Commission, the Fire Department, the Police Department, the Energy Committee, and many other social service and economic development agencies. And in the months ahead, we'll be embarking on a strategic planning process to focus our efforts and to ensure that the work that we're doing at the library is supporting the regional goals and strategies of this area, the town. That process kicked off last year with a community-wide survey that hopefully you took or had the opportunity to take. And it gave people the opportunity to share their input and their feedback on the services that we offer and that they hope that we can offer. So now I could bore you with some very impressive stats. I've done this presentation before and it would in all likelihood not blow your mind at all. So I'm not going to do that. Unless you were a career librarian like me, then you would really be impressed by it. But what you should know is that MCL is a top performing library in Vermont and that we particularly shine in the breadth and the diversity of our programs and our events, our community partnerships, and the sheer volume of use at the library. You stop by almost any time of the day, any day of the week, you'll see families, children, remote workers, teachers, students, seasonal workers, artists, historians, using our meeting spaces, using our equipment, and using our collections to learn and connect and grow together. So I also just want to offer a little bit of context and perspective about the Vermont library landscape. For those that may not know, there are about 185 public libraries in Vermont. About 60% are municipal and 40% are nonprofit, like MCL. On a whole, Vermont libraries are supported 75% roughly by public tax dollars and 25% by other revenues. At MCL, the inverse of that is true, where private funds support about 70% of our budget and public tax dollars provide 30%. However, you should take great pride knowing that the town's level of library support is on par with other communities of our size. You see, what makes MCL very unique is how much of its services are enhanced by private philanthropy that's able to bolster the operating budget. And that combination, the partnership between the town and donors, is what makes MCL so special. Do our resources and services reach every person in town? Hardly. And it's not our goal to be everything to everybody, but our staff and board work very hard to be a welcoming space for visitors to the library, for the residents of the town, the people who work and volunteer here, and all the people who call Manchester home, regardless of age, socioeconomic class, or background. Do we have challenges? Absolutely. Every day I hear complaints about parking. I hear from patrons who are frustrated with our non-resident borrower fee. And you might find this hard to believe, but I've even heard some residents that are upset about their tax dollars going to the library. And I promise we will keep listening and we will do our best to respond to those concerns. But as a new person in town, the remarkable thing to me is just how engaged the community is in the library and vice versa. So I'll share one last observation before I leave you. Over the past 15 years, I've had the privilege to live in cities and towns across the Northeast and to work, volunteer, and consult with many different public libraries in those towns. And over the course of my career, I've observed one really important theme. So we're at an interesting time in public libraries. Many of the libraries that we built in the earlier part of the 20th century are becoming worn out and outdated. Many are facing years of deferred maintenance, and some have even become obsolete. At the same time, our world is accelerating at an unimaginable pace. So the combination of those two things, those two trends, means that many libraries, and frankly, many people, are being left behind. And it takes an enormous effort to update and to future-proof a public library in the 21st century. Obviously, an effort that this community knows very well. I can tell you from experience that the communities that don't make that investment will soon enough find themselves with declining services. And in some cases, and I've seen it, without a public library at all. And sadly, that really is playing out in rural communities across New England. But those communities that get ahead of it and that they do make the critical investment in their library for the next generation, they will have thriving and dynamic community centers for years to come. And that is the moment that we're in right now in Manchester. We are part of a community that has been activated by the renewal and the reimagining of the library. So congratulations to everyone that has helped take it to this level. It's not easy work, and we all made it possible. I guess I can't take credit for that. But I am thrilled to be joining MCL at this moment. It's an honor to be part of such a special community. And I look forward to working with all of you, listening to your questions and your concerns, and to work with our entire community as we plan the next chapter of MCL together. And I invite you to please visit the library and bring a friend, say hello. And yeah, thank you so much for your partnership and for allowing me to come here today. And I'd be happy to answer any questions as well.
Just a couple of historical comments. The Mark Skinner Library was not a public library 2-3 decades ago, and I lose track of time. And they were missing out on the opportunity to acquire grants because they were not a public library. They came to the select board at that point in time with their suggestion that they should become a public library. But if you're a public library, you can't charge memberships. So, and there has to be a municipal contribution in order to get that classification. So what we did at the time, they were getting just over $30,000 a year in memberships. And we suggested that if the municipality contributed that amount, that would cover that gap in their revenue stream. They could become a public library and meet all the requirements and have access to these grants. I think the grants kind of dried up shortly after this. But in the first year, their request, even though we talked about it being 30,000, was 68,000, which was more than double what their memberships were. And it set up a dynamic year after year where we were at odds with the library and their request, but it was a voted appropriation, was approved by the voters every year. So fast forward a little bit, the local appropriation exceeded 50% of their budget. And I suggested that, and I'm going to be your pain in your side through this whole thing. I suggested that if the town's contribution was more than 50%, in my mind, that made it a municipal library. And if it's a municipal library, the operation of it falls under the umbrella of the town and the select board, not its own board of trustees. They were very happy in the subsequent years to let us know, and I don't need to say they in an adversarial way. I'm referring to the library board, that the municipal contribution was going to be less than 50%. But the way they achieved that was by asking for more money, but increasing the budget by a larger amount. So yeah, it moved us under the 50% threshold, but the amount that we were contributing was more. And there was a little bit of confusion because the report to the public was that they were reducing the request from the town, when in fact they were increasing it by over $15,000. So I want to get away from that. One of the more interesting comments that you made was that the municipality contributes about 30% of the revenue stream, and that meets my numbers as well. But yeah, the dollars that we're contributing are on a par with other communities of our size. So what that tells me is that the library serves more functions, is much larger, has a larger budget than a typical library for a town of this size. I think that's great. But the funding for that sort has to continue to be through fundraising and other means, grants, whatever. That's a historical knowledge. I have to talk about it with you
I appreciate that.
in the future, but I think we, the municipality, have a better relationship with the library than we've ever had before. It's improved over the years. Um, I want to continue to do that.
Yeah, I came, well, as I said, from Bar Harbor, where it was a similar thing where in the library world, as with municipal services, you look at things on a per capita basis and are we spending, the appropriate amount per capita? And when you look at 4,400 people that this library is serving, obviously in reality, we're serving much broader than that. And it was the same in Bar Harbor. On paper, we're serving 4,000, but in reality, 10 million a year may be coming through, 10,000 on the whole island that we're serving. So these communities are unique that are serving, so many other rural areas around it. I'm really happy to hear the history. I studied a lot of the select board meeting minutes in the town, meeting minutes before coming to the town and before going through the interview process. So I had a little bit of that history. I'm really happy to know that the town and the library are on good terms right now and that we're supporting each other. So thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks, Matt.
So, you live in town?
In Arlington.
Arlington.
Yes.
Mistake.
Not so bad. My son lives in
I don't
Arlington.
know if you know about that housing problem.
I love Arlington. I'm just kidding. I just think our library director should live here. No, I'm kidding.
None of our offices
No, I'm
staff lives here either.
just kidding you, and I think it's great. That's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Good to meet you. Our manager updates.
Lynn is here, I believe, to talk about Bonnet Street. And I put that on under my updates just to, because you've talked about it a couple times as an agenda item. We've put up signs, additional signs. We've got, the mid-road sign that keeps getting run over. We had two of them, but we repair one and put one out, but it's holding up this last one for the last 2 weeks so far anyway. We do additional traffic monitoring. We've got the speed box, we've got the pedestrian light. That's about the maximum we can do as a municipal staff. Unless the select board decides to do something more, such as the removal of parking spaces. So we're basically maxed out on what we can do. And so I'll let Lynn comment. I know she's here.
Yeah, Lynn, do you have an update of how you feel things are going?
Yep. My name's Lynn Averill, and I live on Bonnet Street. And there's been a lot of action on Bonnet Street lately. But one of the things about the two vertical stand-up signs were that they were white. You can barely see them. I don't think they were well constructed because they got busted right away. But people responded positively to them. They said, oh, they're going to do something. And I said, yeah, but now there's nothing and they haven't been replaced. And
There's one out there. I saw it on the way in. The one further in towards
Was the bridge.
the bridge is there, because I see it every.
Been there the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been on vacation the last.
It's there.
But are they the same white ones? They just don't make any announcement. The traditional ones that you see are heavy. They're about this tall. They're black or orange around the edge. They have strips that you can see at night.
Those are crosswalk signs. So we could put one of those at that crosswalk. Or
Why is it designated as a crosswalk sign?
I couldn't answer that.
Well,
Part of the municipal code, the federal municipal code, though.
Dorset has one that they're using.
I don't know about theirs.
Well, can we find out about that?
I agree with you. It's the white one is hard to see. There's no doubt about
It is that same height, though.
it. It is that height.
I think it's a step in the right direction, Lynn. That's my personal opinion. I saw it I'm there through every day. And I saw it immediately. It could be more visible with, if there is something else. It is a very
I'm a
prominent
little concerned
in the
that
front, in the middle.
people can't see a white sign in the middle of the road. What if there's a little white-haired old man in the middle of the road? Are they gonna see him?
They won't. At night?
Should I have black and orange hair? Will that help?
You mean at night?
Or neon, some kind of reflector?
You can make fun of it.
I'm gonna digress just a moment. I used to put cattle across the road. I run a farm. We used to put 75 head of cattle in the fall across Barnumville Road up the other side. Twice, we'd let them in there and we'd have to let them cross back at night because there was no water up there. They were going into the hayfields. I had helpers set up on each side and we'd open the gates and we'd put the cattle across the road. There were 75 head of cattle in the middle of the road. And a person drove right into the middle of them before stomping on the brakes and said they didn't see them. And I kind of lost my temper and said, well, then you should not be driving a car, because what if that had been two small children and that sort of thing. I don't buy into the argument that you can't see something in the middle of the road. If you don't, you must be on your phone, or maybe you have
Not
glass.
see white ones anywhere else. Wherever you go, you see the standard issue. You can see them.
Yeah, yeah, Greg's showing me
You can see
pictures of
them
what.
at night.
Okay, yeah, there's one that has,
And there's some green that they're green. with
they do
black.
have a speed limit sign on them, and they do have a black and orange striping.
Right.
But if Scott's talking about municipal ordinances relating to what we can put up, can we at least
Yeah.
acknowledge that?
Let me dig deeper and see if we can get something like that. I agree with Lynn on this, that it would be better if something was brighter. And so let me see what we can get that's brighter. I mean,
If Dorset can get one, I'm sure Manchester can get one.
we have to meet the national and Vermont adopted codes. We can't just put up any sign we want. I don't know what Dorset does. It doesn't matter to me because it's in Dorset. So I can only put Eagle.
Been able to put one up, one could ask them how they did it. Was it through an ordinance? How did they do it? And I would do 3 on that strip because you have the bridge. They're coming in at 40 miles an hour. So there should be something there. Halfway through, they could speed up thinking they're going to make it to the circle faster. And then you have the issues with the circle. So if there were 3 on the road, the message might be delivered to them.
Did we switch the speed sign so that when you're coming in from Dorset?
Yes.
Yeah, that hasn't been switched. Is it still, the sign's still there?
Same spot. It records both ways.
We've had it both.
It records
Oh, it records both.
it both ways.
Okay.
It only shows one way, outgoing.
There's a lot of the, I mean, yeah, they're gaining speed on the way out, but they're coming in hot. Yeah, but on that note, the efforts have really paid off. As I drive around, I'm looking for this. I'm thinking about it. The speeds on Main Street where we reduced it to 25 and 35 have made a big difference. There's always going to be somebody who's going to go, no matter what we do, there's always going to be somebody who's going to go faster than the speed limit. And just another interesting side note, 42% of our police activity is traffic stops, 256 last month. So,
I talked to one of the officers the other day
yeah,
and asked whether the town had talked with them about this issue. Because we talked about it in terms of enforcement.
yeah.
They just do drive-bys. They've not stopped anybody. They don't think,
That's true. I've talked to Asante about it and specifically about the road. But I know that they're stopping people in town.
We're issuing tickets also.
Yeah, right.
but they have not given out tickets.
I think they have.
We have given out tickets, yes.
Well, how come the officer
I do not know why he or she answered that way to you.
is always, what else can I do? Talk to all the policemen?
Maybe find a place outside of town.
Say it again?
Maybe find a place to live outside of town.
Then you buy me another house.
I mean, but you, they've done.
We're 5 minutes, 5 minutes is up. If you want me to move on to it.
I don't feel that way.
We'll look at if there's a potential for more signs there. There are a lot of driveways, parking spaces and side roads. We can't put them in a place where they're gonna obstruct trying to get in and out of a driveway or a parking space. So there are limitations, and I can't say that we've reached those limitations.
There were 2 accidents across from my house in the last month.
I mean,
No one killed, 3 cars total. That has to say something.
creating difficult traffic movements because we put an obstruction in the middle of the road might exacerbate that. I'm not saying that it will, but we have to take that into consideration in the place.
Well, the position of them would be
Yeah, so what I'm saying is
critical.
there may or may not be the opportunity for 3 of them, given up the multiple curb cuts that people have to negotiate through that area. So those 2 particular spots, a lot of thought went into where that could go, where it wouldn't impede traffic circulation. There may be an opportunity for another one, but I don't know. I'm just saying this out loud because I don't know if there is or not, but just so that you understand, we can't just plunk it here right in front of somebody's driveway.
I'm not asking you.
I realize that, but I want you to know that it's not just something that we can sit here at this table and say, okay, we can do that. We need to talk to.
Right.
And let you know where they can go.
First time I came to talk about this was a year ago.
And a lot has happened. A lot, probably more on that street than any other street in town, so.
Well, that's great. I suggest that coming from the north onto Bonnet Street, wording like residential area, so they have an idea. Do not exceed 25. That's one suggestion. I'm just going to present.
Do we have the statistics from the sign? This one?
In 10 minutes, just so you know.
Speed was not.
It wasn't,
Beyond.
I think we determined that.
Mike, you had your hand up. Did you want to?
Well, I was just gonna say that I remember, I don't recall when it was, but I remember it was in the fall, there was a commitment to move that sign, the one that reacts to the speed you're going to the other side of the road, couldn't be done because winter was coming. But
We didn't say which way.
Exactly. Personally, to me, those kinds of signs that tell you how fast you're going are more helpful than 100 or.
I agree. Yes.
This kind.
Yeah.
And that goes like this, right?
Right. Right.
That's exactly it.
Well, it's residential mixed use.
Well, I mean, that's,
Like
yeah.
that, it's not residential. If we're driving into, Green Mountain Estates, it's one thing. This is, we're not talking about.
But I think statistically, the problem is that we don't see any difference in speeders on this section than we do in any other section in town. And I think my point being that you're always gonna have somebody, and especially if you live there, you're always gonna see somebody, whereas if I'm just driving through town, I may not notice the 1 or 2 or 3 people a day that you may see that are speeding versus, I'm looking around
That's
where
going to eliminate.
how people are driving and things have calmed down considerably in the downtown area.
but not on Bonnet Street. You just had 2 accidents.
Well, that's, no, I was talking about the speed data that we have.
No weather.
The speed data we have doesn't indicate. that
I'm gonna
there's-
have to
Yeah.
kind of
Sorry.
interject a little bit of control over the conversation. Actually, comments should be directed to me. And I can-
Sorry, yeah.
And I can defer it to someone else. But what Greg was saying is that the speed data on this road is no more out of sync than the speed data on any other road in town. He wasn't saying, what he wasn't saying was that there's been no change on Bonnet Street, because I believe there has been a change since we put in some of these traffic calming measures.
I don't know the answer to that. It's been very busy for the last 2 or 3 months. I guarantee you.
That's really good for all the businesses that live on that stretch of road.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't come and say anything.
Oh, you absolutely are welcome to come and say things, and because you have come and said things, we've done a lot in that area. I think you have to recognize that we've done more on that street than any other street in town. And we get complaints from other entrances to that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But,
But it's hard for me to have taken the time to go to the police station, talk to a policeman, and get the wrong information. And so I come here.
I think that's unfortunate because there have been,
It's very unfortunate.
I don't know how that conversation went.
So if that can happen with some enforcement, because nobody got a ticket. So,
We have been informed that people have gotten tickets, that tickets have been issued. Thank you, Lynn. It's always interesting.
oh, sure.
So other updates, we had a 9/11 commemoration. Gordon and I went up to the courthouse and rang the bell for a minute at 8:46 on 9/11. We intend to do that again next year and continue on with it. And it was well received. Stone bench dedication, Greg and Katie, along with the artists, dedicated the stone bench over at the skate park in the rec park on Saturday. Thank you, Greg. Did everything go well? And Katie seemed to indicate it did.
It was amazing.
Really beautiful.
It was, and you should go over and see it because it's a real work of art. And it depicts the hill farming that happened in Manchester and the winter sports, and they did a really great job. And notice on one of the feet of the bench, it's carved, it's a sheep head in a ski helmet. It's really cool. But the kids who were involved were equally amazing, and so was the artist that oversees the program, Nora Valdez. Yeah, and Nora was, she's quite accomplished, and it was fun to meet her and just be in her presence, because she's got a lot of enthusiasm for the, and this is the 16th bench that's been placed
In the town.
in the town, and so they have 200 and some to go.
Good for you.
Well, thank you for taking the time on Saturday. to do that.
It was great fun.
The significance of the sheep industry in Manchester is huge, and if you walk in the woods up the sides of these mountains, you will see stone walls laid out all the way up to the top of the mountain, not just in Manchester, but in the surrounding towns. And that was all clear. If you look at photographs from 1900, you can, the mountainsides are clear, and sheep farming was the huge industry. And then with synthetic fabrics and other things happening, the industry died. But 250 years ago, this area was 99% wooded. 150 years ago, it was 99% cleared, and now it's close to 90% wooded again, as farming industry has died. So I like the idea that the sheep is wearing a helmet.
The other sheep are on there too, not just the helmet. And there's maple syrup.
Yeah, there's some pictures in that book there.
And it's great.
I have two more quick comments that aren't on the listing there. One is the RFP for our town plan for the next town plan just went out today. We completed and got it out. It's due October 24. And so the planning commission's working with that, and as is our staff. And so just wanted to let you know about that. And then finally, given the drought conditions in and around the state, there's been the reporting of dry wells. So if anybody in Manchester gets a dry well, there's a website on the DEC website, Department of Environmental Conservation, the state website for drought reporting. So if anybody gets a dry well from this drought, please either let us know and we'll report it for you, or you can go to DEC website directly and report it yourself. And that's it.
Great.
Not your water use.
Yeah. I have two things.
Other business.
So I know we just talked about Bond Street. I've received several parents who thank you for the effort on the crosswalk, and I think that's fantastic on School Street. However, we are continuing to see people fly right through them. And I've had a couple kids almost be hit in hands with parents as they're crossing the street. I was passed last night on Bonnet Street, not where you live, on a curb, like people driving erratically. So I just wanted to bring the point that, school is in session. In this beautiful weather, people are out walking, and we have to pay attention to these crosswalks because they're not being paid attention to. I don't know what we can do about it. We've already done, these beautiful lights and whatnot, whether it's, we have to put out a press release or something to get people to pay attention. I don't know what it is at this point. Because someone is going to get hurt. And it's likely going to be a kid. The second thing is, and I think I'm going to save Carl from this because he said he had two things. I just wanted to remind that this Saturday at the rec is the electric drive-in event. So there'll be lots of EVs and stuff there.
Any other business?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Our next meeting is October 7th, 2025, October already, right here. Thank you all for attending. Hope you have a pleasant evening.
In 3 weeks.
We only have 2 a month.
Oh, that's right. That